Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Nick. Today I'm going to be telling you 5 mistakes I made when I first started playing guitar. So I first started playing guitar when I was about 13 years old, and my dad got me an acoustic guitar for my 13th birthday. And I started trying to learn on the internet. I learned how to play an F chord, which if you play guitar at all, that's not a very easy chord to play, and I probably played it super terribly, probably something like this. But I was super proud of myself. I was like, yeah, I learned F, and I wrote a song, and I was like, oh, this is the first chord of Smells Like Teen Spirit, so I'm gonna, since Nirvana used it, I'm gonna use it too, and it's gonna be super awesome because I copied Nirvana, and it went kind of and that was the whole song. And then a few months later, I actually stumbled upon a YouTube video because I had no idea that YouTube video lessons existed. I thought it was just for YouTube poop and random videos. And I saw this video that said how to play Iron Man by Black Sabbath. And I was like, wow, cool, I can learn how to play Iron Man, that's so awesome. So then after that I went on their YouTube channel and I scrolled through and I learned so many songs. They had so many of my favorite songs. I was a big rock head, so I love Foo Fighters and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and all these bands. So I just went through and chopped away and learning them. Then eventually I learned how to read guitar tabs, and I'm like, man, I don't even need to watch this video. I can just learn it from this little tab here. And then that created some issues. Learning not from a teacher definitely had me starting off with some weird issues that when I finally did get a teacher, there was a few weird issues that he had to correct. And I'm really thankful that he did. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about some of the mistakes that I made while learning on my own to help you prevent these mistakes yourselves. If this sort of thing interests you, please like and subscribe. I'm making new videos every Monday and Thursday. So the first one, and probably one of the biggest ones, was my thumb. And I still kind of do this when I play open chords because it's such a bad habit, but and if you're watching this, you're probably going to disagree because there's players like Jimi Hendrix or John Frusciante who play chords like this, which worked well for them, but if you're playing single notes, that kind of becomes an issue. It's a lot harder to play like that, and so the proper technique is you want to place your thumb on the middle of the fretboard about right here. Then you want to wrap your hand around like this, and then your thumb will remain stationary there. If I show you my thumb and play, notice that my thumb is staying still. It's kind of like the firm base of a tree, and if you have a strong base of a tree, you're gonna have a strong tree. It's kind of a similar thing. Now, I don't want to tell you not to use your thumb like the way I just showed you, but at least be conscious of it. And I think it's better to be okay, I know that this isn't the correct technique, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's better than just not knowing how to do it. So I mean, just be aware of it and be conscious of it, and yeah, go for it. So the second thing is that I wasn't exercising enough all of my fingers. My pinky was super weak. So there's a few exercises that I used that my first teacher gave me. The first one was kind of just like a 4-finger exercise. You can do this on any fret. I'm gonna start for example on the 5th fret, and basically we're gonna play 1 finger per string. Your index finger is gonna be the 5th fret, your middle finger is gonna be the 6th fret, your ring finger is gonna be the 7th fret, and your pinky is gonna be the 8th fret. So you're gonna do something like this. It's a simple chromatic exercise that we probably all know, but it's a really good one to do, so I'm basically encouraging you to do that if you already know how to do it. One thing that my first teacher gave me was alternating between the ring and pinky because those are our weakest fingers. If you've seen my video on how to tap on guitar, I talk about some legato techniques like hammer-on, and there's one part where I reference a book called Pumping Nylon and the exercises in that book, where essentially you're hammering on with every combination of fingers. There's only 4 fingers here, and if you only play every finger once, there's only so many combinations. And so on. So you can come up with your own exercises, but really try to have some kind of exercise where you're getting all your fingers worked out on your left hand. The next mistake I made was not using a metronome until I think a little over 2 years when I started playing. And my time was a total mess. I still don't feel like my time is super great now, but before I started using a metronome, my time was a total mess, and I had no idea. In fact, when I first started using a metronome, I couldn't play anything. Then I had to basically take everything I knew and put it in the context of a metronome, put it in the context of a grid. But if I had used a metronome since I began, I wouldn't have had that issue. I'm gonna put on the metronome on my computer right now and basically just kind of play a little bit. I'm gonna play a G major scale up and down. This is at 70 BPM. 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 70 There's a few exercises you can do with that. You can, for example, cut it down to 35 and half, and it'll be on every 2 beats, so you'll have to think a little bit about filling in the space and be careful not to rush or drag, because if you rush or drag that note, the next beat is going to be off from the metronome. Or you can double it. You can, for example, put it at 140 and get the 8 note subdivisions and get used to hearing that. There's a bunch of different things to practice it. If you want some cool ideas, I have 2 videos. I have a video on this syncopation book for drummers that's really cool, and how I use that on guitar. Another one is how to polyrhythm, which is essentially talking about basic polyrhythms. And naturally, if you're talking about polyrhythms, you have to talk about rhythms. So go check those out if you want to know some more exercises. All of those you can do with a metronome. Even if you don't want to do exercises, try to stick every song you know into a metronome and play it to a beat. The 4th thing is learning by ear. It took me so long to start learning by ear because I was like, oh, that's something professional people do. I'm not there yet. I can't do it. But that's kind of the wrong mentality to have, actually. Learning by ear is a skill, and some people are born with it. Yeah, there's people with perfect pitch, but most people have to train it. And most of the musicians that you know and look up to have trained their ear to a tremendous amount. In fact, there's a lot of people who say that you don't need music theory, or that music theory doesn't matter. Well, the people who are successful and don't really know too much music theory have a tremendous ear to be able to play whatever they want. So that's one of the most important things in music, is to have a good ear. And if this is something that's daunting to you, there's a lot of different things you can do. There's an app called Harmonomics, which I talk about in one of my videos, which basically has a bunch of ear training exercises that'll help you improve your ears from the ground up. They have beginner exercises, advanced exercises, etc. Not sponsored. I actually use this app. It's a great app. Another thing you can do is take songs like a nursery rhyme or songs that you know really well by heart and learn them on the guitar without listening to them. So using your inner ear skills. So for example, let's take Mary Had a Little Lamb. So that's the E, right? I found that note. Ba da 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 da. Now, for me, since I've worked on getting intervals down and getting the distance between 2 notes in the guitar, when I found the first pitch, all the other ones are so much easier. So that's kind of the skill that you want to develop. Bo, bo, do, de, do, ha, bo, bo, de, do, ba, do, bo, do, de, bo, do, de, do, do, bo, do, de, do, de, do, bo, de, do, bo, bo, do. Figuring out happy birthday, stuff like that. And even if you're not doing it as fast as I just did it, take your time and it'll come to you. Eventually, once you can do that, you can then move on to more difficult and complex songs, and you build the skill from there. But I highly recommend you working on your ear because it's going to be so monumental. And finally, the 5th thing was my right hand technique. I had no idea what I was doing with the pick. I got a pick because I think it came with my guitar. My dad gave me a pick, and I was like, cool, pick, you use this. But there's actually kind of a method that you want to use. So in my opinion, there's 2 main methods of picking, which is economy and alternate picking. And the other styles of picking deviate kind of from that. So alternate picking is the first one I think about, is strict up and down. So if I'm playing a G major scale, notice when I change the string on the D string, I played an upstroke even though the next string is down. So it's strict up and down, and it's kind of like Newton's law. It's like the pendulum rule, where basically every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So in order to get an even time feel, alternate picking really helps. I think I broke the rule there a little bit, but yeah. The next one is economy picking, which takes alternate picking and it makes it more economical, like the name implies. So essentially, it's the same thing as the alternate picking. We're gonna go strict up and down, but when we change strings, we're gonna pick in the direction of the string. So for instance, if we're playing that same G major scale, we're gonna go down, down, and then down again because we're going down the string. Up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, and then up, down, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then if you introduce hammer-ons and pull-off, you get kind of a sweeping motion. Another cool thing about the alternate picking method is you're only doing down and up strokes. The down strokes are going to be the downbeats, up strokes are going to be upbeats. So it's kind of like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And it gives your brain another way to associate eighth notes with some kind of concrete thing. You can kind of associate eighth notes with the feeling at that point. And then the last thing is like finger picking, for example. So I have nails on my right hand, although one of them kind of broke, so it's kind of weird right now. But basically, the nails are in lieu of a pick, so that way I can get like a nice clean attack. And essentially you're going to use these 4 fingers. You don't typically use your pinky unless you're playing a big chord with 5 notes. But this is a lot easier way to get some kind of like swirly arpeggio kind of thing. Another thing when you're finger picking is that if you're playing single notes, usually it's your index and middle finger. It sounds a little bit uneven because, like I said, I broke one of my nails, so one of the fingers has a nail and the other one doesn't, but that's kind of like the typical way that you would do that. And then the last thing is what I do, which is hybrid picking. So you're going to use your pick, and the pick is going to replace your thumb and index fingers, and then you're going to have your middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. And the reason I like this is because I like to be able to switch between the 2 finger picking and picking techniques without really having to stop. And I can also strum chords like that. I can also play counterpoint lines like that. But anyway, that's about all I have for you today, so I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this helps you out. I hope you don't make the same mistakes I do, and if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. I'm making new videos every Monday and Thursday. Check them out. They have instructional videos, covers, pedal reviews, gear demos, some mixing and production stuff, etc. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.